Welcome back to the channel, people. If you're a young black male getting into construction, this is that second part two video which you need to hear. There is a system designed which is made to oppress people, made to hold people back. And some part of it is called fucking work. The work is layered in ways which doesn't allow the average person progression, whether you're good at what you do, whether you're skilled at what you do. It fucks up the tree of command if we have someone of power who is here, who is brown or black. And as a young black man in construction in the UK, I've known it so many times. I can tell you statistics like 1.5 of corporate managers are brown and black inside positions of or companies who are like high-end companies. So that ain't a fucking lot. So when it comes to construction, yeah, to grow your business, you need to market, you need to be around, you need to have a network, right? And if no one supports you on your network, how are you going to grow? I know you're wondering, what is this all about? What it's all about is doubling down on what I was saying in the first video, which is it's not always fair for young black people getting into construction and people who are brown. It's not. So have your wits about you, because playing blackball against you is like the best way to hold you back. The easiest things what you see are the derogatory comments. Like you come into a site, and I'll take a site for a perfect example. Someone says to me, "Oh, you know Jerome, who is another black person. We're in a site in South London. Granted, you used not to know where I'm from, but I'm not even from South London. So how would I know this other black person?" That's the first little slide digs. The second little slide digs tend to be, "Oh, so where are you from? Caribbean, yeah? Oh, wow. Coconuts and all that, yeah? Why don't you go back there? It's baking hot." That's the subtle racism, what you get when you're at work. And you're still looking at them thinking, hold on, is this the type of level of conversations what we're having? Yeah, it is. I grew up, obviously, in England. And when I went to school, yeah, it was NFs. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. NF, skinheads and all that. They used to try and chase people until they got a good beating in Edmonton one time. A good beating. If you was there, you remember. At that point, a lot of things used to go. A few little incidents used to happen. So one of the major incidents, what used to happen, what made me think, rah, white people don't like black people in this country, yeah, was when Stephen Lawrence died, because that was a racially motivated killing. I'm not from that side of London, but me being witness of it, yeah, and realizing they only killed him because he was black, no other reason, it made me step with a cautiousness inside the workplace. Did I trust everyone? No. Was I letting any sly little jokes fly by me? Like, oh, you know Marvin, you know the black fella from down there that does the jerk chicken. Who the fuck you talking to? Straight away, instantly. I'm on smoke with any of these people, but I can't fight all of them because there's too many people, and it becomes a bit overwhelming at points. So you've got to reserve yourself and pick your battles wisely. Can't be talking shit to anybody. Like, someone might do you something. That's the truth. You don't want people to gang up on you. So I would always tell my young black men to pick your battles wisely. Choose them strategically. Every war wasn't won with attack. You wait till the pussy and the enemy is sleeping, and then you get them. Kick a man when he's down, because he won't be able to get back up once you've realized that he's tried to ruin you. And that's like the art of like war at work, the war at work against race. And I think we'll always have this war at work because a lot of people have their own opinions, and they've grown these opinions from when they've been young about brown, black people. Oh, black people got, how many kids you got? None. How many kids your dad got? 4. 2 different women? Okay. Yeah. So you can't push the narrative that I'm out here having kids with women and not supporting them. I don't have any kids. That's the thing. Being the person or being the majority group who is always trying to move away from the fucking narrative of, oh, black people do this, black people do that. I'm just a black man at work. Just like you're a man at work, but I'm just a different color. Oh yeah, but you know, like, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? What do you think of those immigrants and all that? What do I think of the immigrants? You might be an immigrant, my friend. That's what I think. I think that I can't judge people who I don't know. I don't have time to judge individuals who I know nothing about, but I still know that most of the people that do the pilgriming and most of the graping, we know who those people are as well. But you're not bothered about them, are you? You're bothered about the other person who doesn't look like you, which, you know, if we're going to be bothered about them, we need to be bothered about everybody. It's one rule for everyone. Not everybody gets to slide. But you don't see that within the workplace because you're always treated differently. And I've always been treated differently from the jump. It's been a bit hard pill to swallow sometimes, but I realize that either I am very different or this is just the way it is. And I'm kind of glad I was born in 87, yeah. So let's get this right. So I saw skinheads from school. When I left college and stuff like that, I've seen a riot from London, which was like the London riots, yeah. So that's when the police are getting out of hand and brutalizing and mistreatment of black people in London, right? So that was the riot that time. I seen that. I seen George Floyd, right? And I seen everybody like stand up and say, you know what, enough is enough. Like, this is bullshit. And then you've seen what you can see over the internet is the disrespect how people of who are black are being treated. I saw something most recently. A man in Kenya is a white man in Kenya. He went over there. I think he was a holiday man, and he spat in a policeman's face. But he's in the he's behind the desk in Kenya, spitting in the guy's face. And he said he didn't have his medication. What medication is that? Aid. But I shouldn't say. What medication is that? What makes you stop doing those things towards people who are black when they're at work and they're a fucking policeman? Are you for real? And obviously, we've seen things what they shouldn't trigger you. They should just let you know that these things hereditary are still there. I heard something. There was is it an MP lady where she said she's sick of seeing brown and black people on adverts. Really? Sick of seeing brown and black people on adverts, right? Wow. Again, you can choose to watch whatever channels you want, right? There are many channels like 30 years ago to today. So that lady is definitely 30 years old. She looks like an old fart. But her being 30 years old today, there was no black and brown people on adverts then. So why don't you just go and rewind watch TV from them times? Because you wouldn't have to see anyone black or brown. And you get it. Simple. Don't watch new stuff. If you watch the old stuff, you'll never see the brown and the black people. There is loads of ways how to solve these problems, but when you're inside a workplace, yeah, and it's built up on cultural things, like culturally, we don't accept other people apart from our own because we want only white people to be the best. That's when you're going to have a problem, obviously, isn't it? And everyone's not going to agree with that. Everyone doesn't think like that, neither. But you've got a big majority of people who go out, who be very openly out there as in a racist, but don't want to call themselves a racist. You know, I worked with a man and he was from Kent. I expect a lot of people from Kent to be quite stupid and stuff. I work down there. There's a lot of thick people down there. I don't care what anybody says. Backwards way of thinking, you know. This guy said he was originally from I think it was Thamesmead. So if you know where Thamesmead is in London, bit of a dive. It's got the worst estate in London. So a lot of degenerate people, shithole people, not trying to, yeah, shithole, yeah, that type of lifestyle. But you move away from something. You re-educate yourself. You allow yourself to learn about the world. You travel as a man, as a woman. You get to learn about diversity. You get to learn about other cultures. You start ordering takeaways. You start ordering Greek, Turkish, Indian. So how racist can you be while you're eating those other people's ethnicities' food? Don't say when you're eating it. Say, that's disgusting. Because there's someone else of a different race who has touched that food. Yeah, let's just keep it real. But again, we move. Because I would think, in my personal opinion, that people would look back, realize some of the things what they say, and think to themselves, wow, I've really got some problems. Or they should look at the kids, what they've got, and say like, see my child, yeah, he's got problems, or she's got problems, the way they view other people or look at life. And I've given them this blurred vision of other people and how to look at them, or how to talk to them, or how to talk down to other people. You know, if you think that's a skill for life, then I don't know. I know some people think, oh, you know, like we gotta talk down on people, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. What do you do when you need help from that person? Because you will one day. Remember, you don't know how to. If you got a cut on your face, you don't know how to do stitches. If you needed insulin, you don't know how to put it into your veins. You're not a nurse. Do you get it? But those degenerate people that I've met in certain areas, like Kent, where I've met them there, and I thought, rah, man, you know, like you've got your own understanding about everything, but do you live in the real world? Do you see stuff? And that person I know, who was a manager who lived in Kent, he worked in London. But I told you he was brought up in Thameside, so that's where he is from. But he was suffering from PTSD, and I feel that someone who was better than him took his wife, and he was very upset about it. Therefore, it left him with a salty taste with a lot of people. I realized that when he spoke about females, and it led me to think, like, you know what, you need to get better help. You need to get some help for your situation, because you take out your frustration on everybody else, and you don't know why you dislike people who are brown and black, and you fetishize, which is sexually fantasize about brown and mixed race women as an old man, which is really alarming. But I think that a lot of them do that. You know, being with whoever or whatever partner you want is a personal thing, you know. But to fetishize about it and then tell me about it is very weird, because we're not even the same age. This man was well within his 50s, 52, 53. I don't really want to hear what you're saying and stuff like that. But that's the type of conversations and stuff what I've been exposed to when it comes to work. Does it let me think that every white man who I meet is weird? No, definitely not, man. I just know how to check a weirdo when I see one. Like, I see some people who I don't know if they're specifically trying to act weird when they're around me, but they're doing a really good job of it. They're doing a really good job of proving themselves right, that, you know, their level of behavior can't always be explained. You know, that same person said to me at a Black History Month, which would be now, that I don't know why black people celebrate slavery. And this was a grown ass man. And he was working for a corporate company. I told that corporate company about that, and they did nothing because, it's my word against theirs, isn't it? And even though that person was a supervisor, uh, it was very easy for me to find out how they'd done it, or give them enough information so they could look into it. They never looked into it or investigated into it. So it let me know that obviously those corporate companies, they don't give a fuck, but they don't have many people of color working for them anyway. So therefore they don't have to stick to any rules. What I heard today was that someone made a post and they said, "Oh, I don't think," and this was a black person, "I don't think corporate companies or companies should be celebrating cultural events, and they don't have any reason, or they don't have to be doing it, but actually they do. There's actually like some type of like guideline or some type of law thing what they have to do to follow those um cultural things. If you have people who are on your board, or you have people that are working for you who want to celebrate those things, they do have an obligation to be able to do something for you, right? So even I was thinking at times, even though I worked for a corporate company, let's say, I don't want to say their name, start with L, and the other one is another letter as well, so you can work that out for yourself. That company, yeah, they celebrated Black History Month, and they celebrated African history. Yeah, that company, yeah, they celebrated Black History Month and stuff like that, and African history as well, and some diversity to do with art and Black women and stuff like that, which was cool to see. But I wondered why the hell they done that. But they done that because they've got Black people on their governing board, and they have to celebrate the things which are culturally for that company. So they had a lot of Indian people that worked there as well. So they done Indian stuff as well. But they didn't know that the white people who work for them say, "Why are you celebrating slavery?" They didn't. And even when I told them and I gave them a timeline of when it happened, there was no apology or nothing like that. They just washed it underneath the car. They don't really fucking care. Yeah. All of those places don't really care, to be honest with you. But I thought it would be a little bit different, and I didn't care about being a whistleblower. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about that stuff. I care about someone's said something to me at a place of work, which is, it could have made me feel really uncomfortable if I wasn't sure of myself. Like me being sure of myself. I mean, I didn't have to answer that person. "Oh, Jay, why are black people talking about slavery at this time?" I carried on with what I'm doing, innit? I'm not here to answer any fucking stupid questions from idiots at all, at any time. Whether I be at my day job, night job, any job. We ain't here to do that. Why don't you use Google? Why don't you stop talking to me? Why do you think that's appropriate conversation for me and you to be having? This man is not my friend. You understand? He's a colleague. Colleagues shouldn't be asking you stuff like that, furthermore. But they do, because they overstep the boundary and they think that, oh, maybe this is what they think of people who are like myself, but I'm going to tell you who I am. They think Jay's a nice black guy. He'll tell me, or he'll let me understand. No, I'm a person who's going to make a video, tell other people that you're the type of person that says this, and explain your character so people can avoid you. Because I'm not here to be Kofi Annan. This is 2025. I don't give about that shit anymore. I don't care about enlightening people to be able to bring them to a side of, oh, you know better now. You should know better anyway. You're a grown ass man, but you're obviously not a grown ass man, because there's a lot of things which you just don't understand. You just don't get. You don't get that someone is going to feel some type of way by you speaking to them like that. By you choosing to use that language about something what you don't know. Why would you talk about stuff what you don't know and feel that the workplace is a place for you to say those things. And I know that a lot of people have never had fucking training to do with diversity, and they don't know what to do when they have people of different races come to them with different problems. They have no training. So in my eyes, you're never really qualified to be a manager of anybody. You just manage yourself, because that's what you're good at doing. You're not good at managing anybody else, because that situation happened. And again, I was very open about them with it. I told them about it. I told them that he said that, and that's not my first run-ins, what I've had with people who have said stuff like that. I worked in South London, yeah, and they were talking about a gentleman who just started at this workplace. Bearing in mind, this workplace has got about 30 people. And a new guy came in. The new guy was a bit of a know-it-all. He was a bit of someone who was quite savvy on his job. He wasn't talking shit. When I say a know-it-all, for a tradesperson, he was on point. But when you're on point, yeah, people like to dig holes at you. Don't worry, this has got something to do with the race. I've got to tell you the context of the story for you to understand. Other people were getting an understanding of who this person is. Oh, Graham, this new guy. Graham, this new guy. Wait until you meet this new guy, Graham. Have you met him yet? Have you met him yet? Have you met him? That's what work is like, right? So we're in there. I've told the other geezer. He's heard this conversation happening. So, have you met Graham? This loudmouth, push-out belly boy was talking, and he came in the room and he said, "Oh, who's this Graham guy? Oh, what's he like?" And he's turned to me, like looked as a glance. And I said, "Well, you've heard what people are saying. You have to meet him for yourself, because you make your own assumption on people, innit? If you're a grown-ass man, you don't ask other men other things like that. I mean, it's weird. We don't really care. We don't care what any other man does. But hey, you ask the question, find out for yourself, my boy. If you want the Scooby snacks, you do that." So he turns to me and he goes, "Oh, what? So this geezer's a bit of a know-it-all. Oh, what, is he a black fella?" What? Why has he got to be a black fella because he thinks he's a bit of a know-it-all? He's white. He's one of you lot. What are you talking about? Oh. I said, when I said what straight away, like, what did you say? The other guy echoed me. So I knew we was moving tangent on that. We was just instant. The fuck you talking about? He's white. He's a white man that's talking all that stuff. You know, only white people will come inside this workplace and be giving it all the big and that type of stuff. There was only like 3 black people there, me included, one other guy and one other guy as well. But the young guy, I don't know if you can really count him as all the way black, because he was all the way in on some type of kissing ass vibe. So, I don't know what he was on. Anyway, it was a joker. That person couldn't really understand that the person who was actually being the upsetter inside the workplace was white, but you assumed that he would be black. And I had to say to that guy, why did you assume that he was going to be black? Why would you think that? Oh, no, it's just because how you was describing him to me and all that. I didn't describe him as anything. I described him as a person who knew what they were talking about and spoke with some level of confidence. But I told you from the jump, that person knows what he's talking about. That person actually knew has probably got more qualifications than the other person. I know he's got more qualifications, because the other guy who was talking up, he didn't have no qualifications, but he was quick to run to a race thing straight away. When if the other guy walked in and he asked him, "So what qualifications have you got?" He'd have to say fuck all, because he's a gardener. You're a gardener, but talking up with a chest like you've got right away over anybody else. You haven't. But it's like the audacity of some people sometimes, but you can't make it up. Sometimes you have to see it in real life. I've seen it in 2024 in fucking 4K, bare times. And at times I felt like I want to record these lot, but that's not what my content is about. My content is about debunking and understanding and making sense and making sure that people don't have to go through some of the bullshit and dickheadness what I've been through, like within construction. I always tell people it's not been an all-round bad experience. I've had some bad points. I speak about them because it makes good content. But those bad points, what I've had, yeah, they're they could be career changing for a lot of people. You know, they could be like the reason why some people be like, you know what, it's a good industry to be in construction, but for a young black person, it's like you got more chance in making it as in a corporate job. And I think that's probably true. You have got more chance in making it as a corporate job than making it in construction as a black person. Look, when I saw other people who are black that do construction, I'm a person who reaches out. I reached out to like people like Ashfield. I reached out to a couple other people before. But again, Ashfield, I don't think he's from London. And I always kind of listened to his story because I was kind of intrigued as well. You know, it's nice to see somebody who looks similar to yourself, but when you peel back some of the layers, you realize there's nobody of ethnicity who works for him. That might not be for a reason, you know. I actually don't know where his company is, but I'd imagine it's outside of London, and you've got less people of ethnicity, brown and black, who live out there. So I've always wanted to say that, but I don't really give a fuck. I say what I want about people in that type of sense. But yeah, he seems to be a man who is very in touch with his side of history and heritage as well, which is very nice to see, embracing to see. You embrace that when you get the platform, which he's done through and through. So I rate that. I really rate that. But just sometimes someone might beg to say the question like, where's the black people who work for you? But again, they might be off scenes, isn't it? So you don't really know, but I know that he's a man who reps his thing. So ultimate respect in it, because I think sometimes we get onto some platforms and we become the face of the business, but we forget that you're the face of your culture. Yeah, your culture look to you as guidance. Your culture look to you as someone of influence. Your culture looks to you as someone as a young icon, someone who's a trailblazer, someone who's paving the way, and someone who's helping others elevate. And elevation, you've got to be transparent. You've got to be the truth. I get it. It's not all of the conversations which are going to blow up the internet and make the internet what it is. But I know a lot of people was thinking it. Like with Ashfield, like where's the other black people? But again, he's in. I'm quite sure he's not in London. He don't live in London, so he's around a demographic of predominantly white people, just like I've been as well. But I've always been able to find black people to connect with, even though it's been a bit of a struggle, and you got to go out there to meet others. People are not just going to come and land on your lap unless you constantly push out the same vibrations. I don't constantly push out the same vibrations as in videos which hit deep and talk about deep conversations like racism within construction, because the last time I did, I had a video which reached 10,000 views in a week, which I was really proud of, but it took me a long time to be able to pluck up the courage to be able to say the things I've said, because a lot of those things are personal. A lot of those things, when I went through those racist times, which might have been someone calling me a racial slur on site, I had to think of a way I could say it to people without them not putting them off. I'm not trying to put people off of a life of construction, because it's not that. Trust me. You get some people that rub you up that fucking way, but you got to understand that you're going to get dickheads everywhere. You're going to get people that don't understand you. And as a young black man, if you go into a lot of these scenarios and situations with no support mechanism or defense mechanism, which is if somebody says something to you in a certain way, know how to deflect it and de-escalate the situation for your safety and for theirs. Kicking off or getting into a row or telling a man you're going to bust his head all the time isn't always going to solve the situation. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2". I could look like I'm intimidating, but I couldn't fight the whole world. So to some, they would not want to pick an argument with me. Others feel like this is I'm Goliath and this is David, and they feel like, oh, I'm gonna take him down, and I'm gonna take him down in a way which is gonna grind your gears down or wear you down as a person. Either way, it can get to some people, you know. My dad, yeah, has never sheltered me from the level of racism what is out there at jobs. Yeah, big up my dad, real general. Yeah, it never sheltered me from any of that experience. When it came to people trying to tell him, "Oh, that's a nice car you got, mate. How'd you afford that car?" He said, "Ah, I do this thing which is called work. If you turn up at 9 and you leave at 5 and you do that every day, they just pay you money. Yeah, you should fucking try that." Instead of saying, how'd you afford that car when we're in the car park of work? People like to ask questions. I thought my dad telling me that was like a generation thing that his generation went through. But don't be fucking fooled, people. People still trying to run that little playground joke before you get inside the workplace today. If people see your car, people have known to be like, we're paying you too much. Oh, you can afford a new car. You got a nicer car than me, mate. Why are you comparing me to you? We are not the same. We didn't come out of the same wound. Your mother is Janet Smith. My mother is not that lady. Yeah? My dad is not that man. We've come from different backgrounds. Understand different things happen to people. Some people are fortunate, some people are less fortunate. Some people have to work harder. Most people who are black know we have to work 2 times harder. Mother's always told me this. If your mum's not told you this, I don't know where she's living. I've been raised off that fact that you got to work 2 times harder because your face is black. People who are of ethnicity know that it's not easy in this world to be able to make something of yourself because the opportunities are slim and there is always someone watching over your fucking back with that little evil eye. So you've always got to make sure anytime you step out, my people know what I'm talking about when I say step out. Say you step out to work, make sure you're looking clean, presentable, you're on time, you're not doing the stigma things which they want to say about you. Oh, you're late. Never been late. Oh, this customer said you had a attitude. I've said hello, I've said goodbye, and I've asked them what else could I want. I've never left any mess. I've never done that. So please be very specific when you're talking about that. I've had to tell a few employers that you're openly racist. You know, I've had to leave colleges to tell them that what you said there or what you've done there was racist. I done it at Luton College. That's why I don't really talk about working there or anything like that because I've had that with the head of Luton College in the construction. He said something which was very racist towards me. He made a comment about it. I said, "What did you say?" And we parted ways because I'm in my 30s now, and I understand when people want to try and tell me, especially white people, want to try and jump on and try to tell me, "Oh, but I'm old school," you know, like. You know, I got brown mates, but I don't let them round me ass because I'm old school. You know, I don't want anything going missing. They're not your mates, then, innit? You know, I don't know what you associate that with, but it's just to give a real idea that the world we live in, especially UK, very racist. You can expect to have more than a few people just that don't like you just because you're black, your color of your skin is black. And sometimes for us that can be a hard pill to swallow. I remember the day when I realized my skin is black and I'm very different to other people. And it's not because this was like when I was in school. Um, I, it because how society is and how they showed certain people, like growing up you don't see black superheroes, growing up you don't see so many positive stories about black people. I would watch things like Crime Stoppers. You would look at like certain things on the news, like I told you, the things which happened when I was growing up, Stephen Lawrence, uh the Rodney, anyway, the stuff what happened in general. We all know some of the racist, hereditary, disgusting things what have happened, and which we've all been victim to watching. Yeah, you think to yourself, "Fuck me, it's gonna be hard for me," but you gotta always have your big boy boots on and carry yourself with a sense of pride, respect, because I don't carry the narrative for every black man. I don't carry the narrative for every black person within construction. I'm very cultural aware, but I'm not a person that is I'm only on my black stuff. I'm only here for my black people. I'm here for people who are good, full stop. And everybody's seen that. I've helped some white students up to the brink as much as I can because I like them. Because I fucks with them. They're good youths. They're just a child. Who they grow into now. Hopefully, I have some effect on them and they realize that just being a good person is about being a good person. It's not about favoritism. Like, if you know anything in this lifetime, a racist man could have a daughter and his daughter could go out with a black guy and it would be his worst nightmare and it would ruin him. But every time he looked at his grandkids and he saw how beautiful they was, he would find it hard to keep that racism stuff in his heart. Or his daughter would want nothing to do with him. Then he would grow up a lonely, sad man, which is both of them things are going to happen to racist people. So it's how quick they happen to them, how quickly they get fucked over through their own actions. And I just wanted to bring this conversation to light because that type of behavior always goes full circle when it comes to people, you know. And I've learned so much from others while working alongside people, and I've realized that that's not the way to be in life. You just need to be a better way of understanding of people in general, innit? I'm just recording something. And the way you can be is learn from other people's mistakes. Learn that this world, yeah, gotta get along with each other. You don't have to have the same ideology as other people, which might be negative, which might be condescending, which might be judgmental of races, which you don't know nothing about. You know what the narrative which has been spun, which sells. I've always thought racism is the biggest seller to divide and conquer people. Have you ever seen a concert where there's loads of people just getting along to music because they feel the vibe? There's nothing to do with race inside there, innit? It's all vibes, good energy. And your race does not come into it at all. But why within a workplace your race is going to come into it? You got to ask yourself, you know, only certain individuals keep pushing that narrative. Someone's got to stop. And people have got to call out their fucking parents for that shit as well. Because some of you lot know your parents are racist. You know they say some shit when certain adverts come on. They might be watching the goggle box and they start chatting shit about Indian people or brown people or someone with dreadlocks or some shit like that. You got to pick up that. You got to pick up your little Crocs and just dash it at your mum's head. Dash it at your dad. Tell him to shut the fuck up because he still orders Chinese and he still orders Indian. And he likes a bit of that jerky chicken. Do you get it? You got to just dash it at their head. And I'm speaking for those people who their parents speak out in that type of way. Because, like I said, man, no one ain't going nowhere in this world. People have got to get along with each other. Even though I've had the experiences what I have, I don't have negative thoughts towards white men or white women who I don't know. I don't know you. I judge people off of how they treat people. And if you treat everyone with a fair level of respect, why have we got to dislike each other? We haven't. That's it. You know, I don't try to do people wrong, even though they've done me wrong. I try to explain the situation so it's context for people. All of my conversations like this are uncut. I just tell the truth. You know, I told the truth that these companies that I worked for, corporate companies, I told them about the racism and stuff like that. They do nothing about it. I expect them to do nothing because 2025 and 2026 is the year of the internet. People will be exposed like the light. Whether you've got a big platform or not, once people start talking about certain stories, they will be brought to the light. And most of the conversations what I hear from people in this year, especially when it comes to black construction young men, is they're on sites. People are calling them the N word, which is the hard N, and people are telling them that it's banter. The reality is that calling someone the hard N isn't banter at work. It's disrespectful. And it's not fault of those people who are on the site. It's fault of the people who are involved. So management, supervisor, because there's no red card, yellow card. You kick you off site. You won't be able to return back to site until we do a thorough investigation. People need to start taking people to court over this as well. But I know that that's time and that's money. And a lot of black people have been told from church times is be quiet. Don't kick up a stink. Have cucumber sandwiches. Don't ruffle the feather of the white man. But hear what? We're not having cucumber sandwiches no more. People ain't hearing that. And people have got their internet. They got a phone. You make a certain TikTok video and it blasts up people, yeah? It will go around the world and back before you can believe it. So I'm not expecting people to change. I'm just expecting that people are going to hear more and more stories about people's realities, you know? And I speak about everyone. Don't think I just get onto white men. I've made videos about black Uncle Toms, you know? I got an uncle who is a very much an Uncle Tom. I don't have nothing to do with him anymore because I think he's, you know, how he is. But that's a member of my own family, which I had to check myself through his own behavior and conversation and the way how he looks down at certain people. So I said, that's not for me, you know? So just don't think that I sit on the fence on any of that shit. I keep it just real and keep it funky. And I always like to know what people think because all of our experiences are different. But I know as a young man, I'm not going to grow if I hold on to any of them feelings with any of them people. So I don't. I think holding on to them would make me a worse person. I experienced them. I learned something from them because there's always a fucking lesson. Whether it's, oh, I shouldn't be so open with people and invite them to my space until I start to learn who they are before I can be comfortable around them. But I don't give out titles to people who I know and class them as my friend if we're not friends. You heard me say that person was a colleague who said that. So my friend wouldn't say that because I don't pick friends who talk like that about other people, other races. You know, I just think, and I wouldn't be friends with a 50-year-old man neither because what for? Come on, bro. You're not old enough to be my dad, but why? Why would I do that? You look weird anyway. Anyway, my point is that we should share our experiences, and we should use platforms like this to be able to create positive conversation between us. Like I said, my experiences are the ones I have lived. I would also ask people to share their experiences, what they've lived when it comes to racist situations in construction, because it only makes some things a little bit easier. You know, we need the conversations to be easier to know how we're going to deal with them ourselves. Yeah, we need to make it easier. Sometimes it's a difficult conversation. Some of us have been really disrespected, but we're trying to make it a better place for the next generation. Yeah, that's my thing. Like that's why I honestly tell you, lot, that I don't hold nothing against people. You know, I ain't got time for that shit. I got time to make content about their clout, but I ain't got time to be holding it against them. And I use the content to vent, but also to allow, yeah, to vent and not to allow myself personally to hold on to it. That's how I've seen a lot of salty men in life, which is something happens to them and they're holding it. Oh yeah, I can't fucking stand you. Da, 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 da. Because oh yeah, black fella took my wife. Brother, we all don't want that little fat Oompa Loompa. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. We all don't want that Oompa Loompa vibe. I shouldn't say fat because, yeah, I understand that. We all don't want that type of person, yeah? Let's just leave it as that. And I understand that we get emotional when it comes to certain things, but living a life of aggression towards certain people when it's not really necessary. I don't have aggression to random white men for no reason, you know. Some white men have been really, really nice to me, man. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Offered me nothing but opportunities. Respected me for who I am. Don't try and condescend me. And those people are my pals. I'm not gonna lie to you. Those people have done some good things for me, man. So it's just hard to understand why others come at you from an angle where you say to yourself, right, you hate me or something. Like, why do you dislike me when I don't even know you? That's what it makes me think. And that's what will make some people say to themselves, right, man, this is not a place where I want to be. I joke. I know I call people fat, Oompa Loompa, da-da-da-da-da-da. But look, sometimes I say how it is, yeah? And some things I would be willing to apologize for. I'm not calling someone fat or Oompa Loompa because people say way worse things than that, you know? Like I said, this is a deep conversation where someone's calling you an N, a hard N. And I'm not telling people to retaliate with violence or whatever. I'm just telling people to be aware of these individuals, innit? There's many of them. That's why I had to start this conversation off with when I went to school, I was aware of the National Front, skinheads. And look at the time where we are in today. People are marching in their thousands, talking about they want people to be sent back and all that. It's a whole different fucking story. But most of those people, you know, CP jackets, Stone Island, all that shit. That man is thinking that they're in, I don't know what they think they're in, but yeah, it's like the world just seems to be getting more of a disgusting place with people's attitudes. We can't always control everyone, but we can calm down a narrative, man, because all of us don't want to be at war with each other. Do you get it? Like I said, I don't really have nothing evil to say about no white men and stuff like that. Obviously, I would tell a lot of black men to have your wits about you about some of these people, because some people do have other intentions. You know, they're going to use you, but just don't be that person. Be aware of your social surroundings, backgrounds. Do some checks on people, man. Don't just allow people into your inner circle or around you to be able to harm you or to be able to affect your money. Do some checks. Do your CRB. That's what you need to do. CRB check on these people. All of these people you work with, do your own CRB check on them. Ask people questions. If you're going into a job, yeah, within construction, I would ask them questions. Have you had any racist things here happen before? How would you deal with this if this happened? And what I would use is ChatGPT to find out some questions which would help. And I would say I've got 8 fire questions which I need you to answer openly and honestly. And depending on your answers is depending on if I'm going to sign up to this company, because I need it to be the right fit for me. Even though you said I'm the right fit here, I need it to be the right fit for me. Clack that T. I'm on it. I'm on stuff, you know, when it comes to stuff like this. Yeah, I had a good live, people. Anyway, got to jump off now, yeah? Let's get it. Subscribe, yeah?